This is the Dork Side News Network, and this just in.
So I was going to start this one off by saying today's cold open is brought to you by the fact that Rich hates my deviled eggs.
I mean, I hate all deviled eggs.
That's fair.
But the smell.
Yeah,
James,
I mean,
I'm not sure what happened. I don't know how you got more sulfur in your eggs than normal, but they were bad.
they didn't taste bad.
I know, I understand. Everyone said they were delicious. So I'm not going to knock the taste of this thing that I don't like anyways, but that smell.
I always just attributed it to like Limburger cheese or something like that. Where like it smells awful, but it tastes good.
Okay.
So not only did you make deviled eggs, you actually brought them over.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you do that to him?
He opened it a good 6 feet away from me, and the smell was intense. Instantly. Like that. I've never had that experience with deviled eggs before.
That's the real shit right there.
That's how you know. That's how you know it was good.
Yep. And that's how we're starting off the Resident Evil podcast today with deviled eggs that have nothing to do. I mean, there might be devils or something in Resident Evil, but anyways.
Yeah.
There is a devil. His name is Wesker.
Or is it
There's also a red-skinned one that seems vaguely devilish. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, this is the Dork Side News, and we're switching up, not really switching up the format a little bit. Well, we're breaking it down.
Yeah.
Our episodes are really long, so instead we're doing 2 episodes instead of one really long one. And we are going to be doing done quick episodes. I mean, it's like really Resident Evil here because that helicopter flying in the background.
Yeah.
It's like on theme.
I actually hired them. They're just going to be cruising around for the next 45 minutes.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing done quick. So that's our idea of whatever the subject is, it's going to be done quick. So within 45 minutes of this episode, which is where we're targeting how long that'll be, you can go to the water cooler tomorrow at work, or you can go talk to your friends and be an expert in this subject for at least a day, because then after that, it just purges everything.
Well, and there's going to be a new game out, right? So people might want to catch up.
Yeah. I mean, and you want that'll be in the news too.
Yeah.
So this is our first episode of Done Quick, and we're doing Resident Evil, and we have, I should probably start with I'm James.
I'm Richard.
And we have one of our favorite guests back, Leiden.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
See, this episode is sponsored by Dorkside Fitness, and when you sponsor an episode, basically you get to be on the episode. So,
very lucrative sponsorship, I'm sure.
You get eggs. That's what you get.
You get the best egg recipes.
the invoice is going to be in the mail.
All right, so we're talking Resident Evil, and Leiden's here because he loves at least Resident Evil 1. At least.
I mean, it was a good game. I was
he
like
likes Resident Evil 1.
I mean, I was like every millennial who, experiencing PlayStation for the first time, and there you get to that cinematic scene, and the zombie stands up and looks at you. It's kind of spooky. You felt spooked?
You mean homeless guy? The homeless guy stands up.
So I'm only familiar with the remastered version.
That's probably, I don't know if that's better.
No, the remasters are better.
Some of them are bad games.
But the graphics were better.
The graphics were better, but like what worked in the first iteration,
Yeah.
a lot of PlayStation games, it was the first time you saw a 3D experience like that.
Well, actually, I mean, doesn't it feel very distinctly like watching Time Crisis?
Yes.
Yes. Like, I think they're both Capcom, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I know for certain Resident Evil's Capcom.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like they just used almost the same models and the same haunted house and the same everything. It's just instead of it being like canned, where you're just moving from spot to spot to spot, instead you have marginal amounts of control in very small rooms, probably for 3D object count polygon things. Yeah. Because those rooms are pretty small in general, right? Like before you had loading scenes.
Well, no. I think they were small because they were supposed to add to like the claustrophobic effect, because it's a spooky game.
But it made it so easy to like run away from the monsters.
Yeah, and well, I think in the remake on PlayStation 4 and others, they will follow you now. But I remember distinctly in the original games, like if you walk through the door and let it close behind you, they're just there.
Well, the games have been reinvented recently to be more actiony, but they used to be like a genuine survival game, which meant like you'd go into a room and a part of the experience was the puzzle of what I do with my bullets.
Because
Do-
you
do
had
I-
limited ammo in this
Yeah,
one.
do I use them on the zombie to just get through it? Because in that point, the gun was kind of like a get out of jail free card. You don't have to problem solve your way around the zombie.
Yeah.
And that's why it was small, and that's why you could walk away from the zombie because like that the zombie was actually part of the puzzle of that one specific room.
And even the number of saves was
Yeah.
part of the struggle, right? Was
No, I remember you like any game,
ribbons.
any
Your
game
ribbon,
that gives you an item that you use up. You have all these ribbons. By the time you get to the end of the game, you have like
And it's really sad to think about it because in Resident Evil 1, when it first came out, likely when we all played it, ribbons weren't that old of a technology for typewriters, but it is now.
Oh, well,
and
yeah.
so, like, the remake, people are like, what the hell's a typewriter? Why is there a ribbon? What's going on here?
I might have been one of the last people who experienced typewriters in school.
what? Did you really?
Yeah, let's see.
What? Jesus Christ!
Eighth-
James, how old is he?
Yeah, I know. Eighth
He's
grade.
not that much older than me, which is
Can't-
what's funny.
You can't hear me right now, right? I'm just whispering to you.
I still can because the headphones are like it's like Superman hearing right now. But
Oh, Jesus Christ!
yeah, eighth grade there was typing class.
How old were you? How old is it? What is eighth grade again?
Eighth grade is 14.
14?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. Don't do the math. Yeah, actually, super enjoyable class. Man, you just show up and you type for,
On the
for an
typewriter?
hour. Yeah, and the sound of it's kind of enjoyable. It's like being in a newsroom.
Did you
or
have to do
something.
the
Oh, yeah,
like,
heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember, like, of course, I had a typing class. It was on a computer, and I typed up Word documents. And then when the class was over, you put on like, a game or something like a typewriter.
Yeah. So the important thing about this, not the age or oldness, was that's how you saved your game, and you had a limited number of these things.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. So let's start from the very beginning. Tokuro Fujiwara. I can never say his name right. Tokuro Fujiwara.
Fujiwara.
Yes, was the one that made this game, and it was a remake of Sweet Home, which was his game also. So he just took Sweet Home and remade it better.
Hey James, I think your sound thing is hitting the mic. See
Oh yeah, there it is.
there we go. Sorry
Problem
guys
solved.
at home. I was like, how
Definitely hearing something.
Yeah.
awesome.
So he remade his old game, Sweet Home, and made Resident Evil. And there was another name for this game, but I want to leave it for the trivia at the end. So we'll leave it for that. But that's the Japanese name. But so we start off with two people that we can choose from. So we have Chris Valentine. Wow. Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine. Now, this is actually a very important choice, and it's the first one you make in the game because there are two different modes of play.
And there is somewhat of an RPG element. There's a lot of choices in this game. It's not just like you clicking buttons, that you actually are given choices.
Was there an RPG element? I remember, again, because of the survival mode, there was a lot of like, managing your inventory was critical. You had to bring the right items with you at the right time.
So inventory, and like it'll be like, oh, here's a gear thing. Do you turn it? Or here's a tub. Do you pull the plug? Here's the thing. So there's a lot of these like choices. And your first choice in the game is, do you play as the cool girl or the easy mode guy?
I don't know. I think Jill might have been a little bit more easy mode.
She was the master at lockpicking.
Yeah, because you get a little bit more inventory space,
That's true. Yeah.
and you also get to lockpick to get more items.
I just feel like that stuff is far more fun than just being able to do more damage.
Yeah, I think it's more fun too. But I also think I guess depending on your play mode, your play style, it might be easier for you to play that way. Like, yeah, it's going to be easier for me to play through a game where my bullets count when I can open, locks and get bullets out of it. Or it might be easier for me to play with, I don't care about bullets because I can just punch my way through everything. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
and the other specific thing with Chris was you only had 6 inventory slots, which made it exponentially more difficult.
Did the game have a difficulty mode, or was that its difficulty
did.
mode?
It did have difficulty mode because when you played through it, if you did it under a certain amount of time, you'd actually unlock like harder difficulty modes
Okay.
and more costumes and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
and I think one of the costumes or one of the things that you did, you got infinite ammo at the very end. Or you got infinite ammo to start the game over with.
I'm not a completionist, so I usually don't get those extra modes.
Yeah.
I remember a rocket launcher at some point. If you got that at
The end.
or if you got a Magnum.
What?
Like, I'm sure those games had like a magnum weapon that you could one-shot the zombies with.
Well, no, I mean, it was the rocket launcher.
Yeah, totally.
No, that was for killing the tyrant at the end.
That was for killing everything. If you had infinite ammo for that,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
that was the easy mode.
All right. So you're choosing the two people, and these two people are a member of an organization called S.T.A.R.S.
I was going to say they're rock stars, but that's just dumb.
But
But now that I've already said it.
that's the part that would have been dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that part.
And we just actually looked it up, and I am awful at this. I completely forgot. What does STAR stand for? Do you remember?
And rescue.
And rescue.
Something and
Search Tactical and Rescue Service, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that.
So this is the first sign of the Japanese weird perspective on America.
Oh, yeah.
So you are supposed to be effectively like a SWAT member of a police force.
No, that's what they are. They're SWAT, but for whatever reason, they're called stars.
For whatever reason, they're called stars.
SWAT
in a
stars.
small town
Why
in the
is-
Midwest.
How a small town can fund a SWAT team is beyond me.
Yeah. And you're a Bravo team.
Oh, there's two teams. That's
Yeah,
right.
there's two teams, and the team is large
They have a helicopter.
because there's
Not the one flying over our heads right now, but a different one.
a different one.
Maybe they have two helicopters.
I could only afford
I
one.
think they did have two helicopters. They're waiting for the second one to come in.
I actually think you're right.
Well, one was crashed.
Yeah.
And then they had the one they flew in on. And I think there's another one because I actually think Alpha Team is another.
I think Alpha Team was wiped out in Resident Evil 0.
RE0, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll get there.
Yeah, that'll be another.
Well, no, but
episode.
like, so this is a really serious operation. Okay.
And they have hardcore equipment,
yes.
like big giant shoulder pads.
Yep.
Because the game is vaguely as like sexist.
Well, this is like, I don't want to be too weird, but this is before 9/11. So the fact that they have that level of equipment. No, because after 9/11, the military started to farm out all their equipment down and build up SWAT teams.
Yeah.
But this is before any of that ever happened. So for them to be geared out that way is pretty radical.
It's just like this weird Japanese perception of America as if we like love guns and everybody has like
And everybody's fitted out like a military guy.
yeah. But I mean maybe they're not wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because SWAT teams do like all that stuff. So there's all these news stories of people being eaten, and you're supposed to be going in to investigate.
We were. I had to double check. We were a little off.
Oh, okay, what's
Special Tactics and Rescue Service.
there we go.
So that's what it's supposed to signify. You are Special Tactics, which is important because it's like SWAT.
Well, yeah.
It's Special Tactics. So you've picked your character now.
I feel like the rescuing was a little bit of a misnomer. I don't remember them rescuing a whole lot of people.
I think everyone they attempted to rescue ended up dying.
But they think you're being sent in to rescue people.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're trying to rescue people.
And the first sign that something's really wrong
The thought is what counts.
is the crashed derelict helicopter, which I thought was a very weird choice of words. But the helicopter is a derelict.
Yes.
But
I thought the first sign that was wrong is you are in a city called Raccoon City. I don't. Just very.
They love
weird.
raccoons.
Yeah, they do. I was going to ask if they called it Tanuki City in the Japanese version, but
now I want to know. I should listen to a podcast that says things like that.
yeah, definitely not this one.
No, because we don't know. But probably Tanuki.
I mean, it could have been. I mean, when we get to the actual name of the game, what it was supposed to be, you might be surprised. Okay, so you pick Chris, you pick Jill, you're a STAR member, and you are in Raccoon City. So why are we here? A crashed derelict helicopter. And
I'm still trying to figure out who's got the rattle. It's totally yours. I just don't know why. Is it not tightened all the way?
let me see.
Sorry, guys at home. Took James, beat him, and he has promised to stop touching the cable. So,
It wasn't me touching the cable. It was the cable touching me.
all right.
Okay, so
Victim blaming.
stop victim blaming. So victim blaming in this game is I didn't know where I was going to go with that one. So yeah, so we were at Chris Redfield, Jill Valentine. There's STARS members. We're in Raccoon City, and there's zombies in here.
Well, at this point in the story, people have been eaten.
Yeah, I think you've seen your first zombie because it's right after the helicopter crash.
I remember.
I thought it was just the dogs.
It was a pretty cool experience. You're chased by dogs into the mansion. You lock
okay, that's
yourself
right, yeah.
up, and the mansion's a house of horrors. It's all locked with booby traps, and you're stumbling around, and then eventually you see Creepo eating another guy, and he stands up and he's all zombie-like and spooky, and you're a 10-year-old kid
Now-
and you're totally frightened.
Before you see that zombie,
Okay.
They're zombies.
you go into the house with your boss, Wesker,
Wesker.
Yep.
and he acts kind of weird, and it's like, hey, we don't know where the rest of our teammates are, so go look for them. And so you split up.
Yeah, you do what the party should never do.
Yeah.
Don't never split the party.
And then
we
you
found that out in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Are you saying Wesker was their Fred? Okay, gang, it's time to split up.
Time to split up.
I'll go with Daphne.
So-
Damn it, Fred, you always go with Daphne.
So first you find some blood,
yep.
and then you split up again,
So
and that's
again,
where you see the first zombie.
I mean, in any other real life situation, you would have left already, long time ago, or tried to get out.
But it's their job. They can't just leave.
Yeah, but when you're seeing blood and then you split up, I mean, that's just.
Well, I don't think they would split up.
No, very fair. Their job is to be there, but a part of that job is to stick
Be
together.
smart about it.
Stick together. Call for backup. I don't know how many stars teams they have. Maybe that is star team.
Now
C.
I played the female character.
Yeah.
What did you guys play?
I always play as Jill because I just like lockpicking.
Me too. I love lockpicking.
Joe.
Yeah. So
We're very masculine men.
I am masculine, man. I like a tough lady who can beat the tar out of zombies.
that's true. The dialogue is very weird.
Well, yeah.
It's very vaguely sexist in a way that I can never quite pinpoint, but it just seems like, I don't know. It just feels very.
It seems like every other sentence is like, was that sexist? I think it was sexist.
Yeah, I feel like it was sexist. And I granted the time period or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. No. So for the very first game, they did with intent. They were trying to make a B movie. So that's the reason some of the dialogue is horrible,
So
or at least delivered horribly.
I definitely want to get to the B movie portions.
Yeah.
But just to make it through just a little bit more of the story at this point,
Okay. Yep.
you've discovered that a lot of the other teammates are dead, and dead, wounded,
Yeah. As you're
etc.
crawling through the mansion, solving one puzzle after the other, every time you find somebody, the bastard's already been ate.
Yeah, and there's some weird things going on. I mean, first you've been attacked by mutant dogs, which way back when. The reason why I didn't play Resident Evil was because the mutant dogs reminded me of Parasite Eve.
Oh, yeah.
But Parasite Eve had like way better mutant animals. So that's what I played.
And it was,
Because I had like limited money. I had to choose.
yeah,
between
we
the
were
two-
also talking about that Parasite Eve had very much more RPG elements than.
And that was an RPG, whereas this is zombie survival.
Survival horror.
Yeah, survival horror. So, so mutant dog, you meet some guy and he's like, I think I'm sick or whatever, and then there turns out to be a giant basilisk-like snake, like mega big snake. At least that's who I saw.
Down in the basement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you're going, there's definitely a lot of B horror movie tropes. Like there's these giant gears for no reason. I have no idea what the gears are doing, but it reminds me of Frankenstein. And then
Frankenstein.
There's a Hunchback of Notre Dame type character, and I don't even know that's a bioweapon. It's just like some monster dude thing. Do you guys know it? Is it a bioweapon? The Hunchback guy?
Well, the Hunchback guy's a nemesis in Resident Evil 3, isn't he?
Oh man, I don't remember. There's all I can remember is from Resident Evil 4, the weird little hunchback character that was running a town, and he was like, you couldn't wait till you could run up to him and kick him in the face. So that's all I can remember as far as hunchbacks go.
So they had a Hunchback of Notre Dame. They had a Frankenstein like thing. Shortly after you like go down into the basement, and there's all these giant gears and everything. And you meet the guy and the snake and everything, and there's a red-skinned zombie with who I believe is a tyrant or maybe a mini tyrant or
he's not.
He's the other race.
I think you're talking about the remake.
Yeah, no, it is.
I've
the
only
remake.
played the remaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, I mean, so the original one was a little bit different, but I know in the remake they wanted to affect the difficulty a little bit.
Okay.
And the red zombies were just a cue to the players. They were like the red skeletons from Castlevania. They just kept coming back.
Yeah.
Well, this guy, but he was like a mini boss. I mean, he's like one of the first boss zombies that you fight, at least in the basement.
Okay.
Yeah. But he seemed like kind of devilish, kind of maybe like, I don't know. It just definitely all like B movie kind of horror things.
And you said tropes, so there's a couple that I want to touch on.
Okay.
So the first one, you were wait, are you Bravo or you Alpha? I just forgot all of a sudden.
You're Bravo.
Yeah, you're Bravo, and you're finding other members of Bravo.
Yeah.
And when you find the ones that are still alive, one of the more important ones tells you there's a traitor in the Alpha team.
Oh boy.
So there's trope number one.
Why
There's
didn't,
always
why,
a traitor.
why didn't
in
he
the
just say it?
Well, he said it, and then he got shot.
No, like
Yeah,
don't
why didn't he
even
say
waste
the
time.
name?
Don't even waste time saying there is a traitor. Just say, "Oh, this guy is the traitor."
Someone screwed us.
Yeah.
But he probably didn't think that he was about to immediately get shot.
That's fair.
But what's really bizarre is that Jill is like, "Oh no." And she tries to like deliver aid to the guy who just got shot. And
Which
I
is
feel like,
Enrico Marini, by the way. That's his name.
so I would have been like dodging, heads
Yeah.
down, like I'm about to be shot. I don't know.
I'm receiving fire. Just kill this guy in front of me.
And hey, if I'm a like betrayer who's about to shoot the person talking, why don't I just shoot her in the back? Because I mean, hey,
I mean, the other guy's not getting away anyways.
yeah, he's already dying. I don't know. But
Second trope.
yeah.
The player eventually learns that there was illegal experiments being performed by a overarching biomedical corporation known as the Umbrella Corporation. So second trope is corporation does bad thing.
Yep.
And that's when you find out about the T-virus. When the T-virus is what triggers off the entire Resident Evil series. It all revolves around the T-virus.
And like any corporation, you even encounter the like meeting room where apparently they did like a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, yeah.
To educate everybody on the different types of like monsters they created with the T-virus.
Well, that's definitely not ever going to like accidentally get leaked to the press
never.
or anything.
Yeah. I was to say, which being prior military, I can tell you from experience that PowerPoint presentations were literally a thing that still happened to this day.
Well, no, of course, in the military, but I mean, we know how the military is ran. Yeah.
But this is a mansion. Like, like evil mansion.
Wait, was it like a PowerPoint presentation or was it?
It was
actually,
It felt very PowerPoint.
Was it a projector?
It was a projector, but it
projector
felt,
with slides.
That's old school PowerPoint, okay? So I want to jump in real quick. Something that always amused me about the story.
Yeah.
Like, right? Didn't you always wonder why the mansion was like so wild and weird?
I did.
I think it's part of Resident Evil 0. Like, you really dive deep on the guy who made the mansion.
Okay.
And I think it's one, if I remember correctly, it's one part the police chief. He wasn't a part of S.T.A.R.S.
Okay.
But it's either the police chief or it was Wesker himself. He was basically torturing this guy to keep working on the mansion to like secure it. And a part of that, basically, the guy was like paranoid.
Okay.
And you remember that story about the girl with the haunted house and she kept building aimless doors and aimless stairways? It was kind of like you were supposed to feel like that. Like the guy kept asking him to build something else and extra on to try to make him feel more safe. And it was sometimes aimless and pointless. And that's to help explain why the puzzles were so weird. And I kind of appreciated them going into that detail. Like there's this tortured architect forced to keep building on this mansion.
I appreciate that you have this game, which is like a one-off. They'll never do another one.
Sure.
It's just Resident Evil. And then in future games, they're like, how do we justify this weird mansion?
I don't want to sink your channel by saying it, but that's exactly what the Star Wars fanboys do and did.
Yeah.
You had a New Hope, you had some weird characters, and then before you know it, it's 10 years later and there's a bunch of like novels that expand the universe.
The most appreciated quality in a Star Wars fan is how much hate you have for Star Wars.
Oh man, I'm the biggest Star Wars fan.
There you go.
Yeah. I love Star Wars so much that I hate everything about it.
I hate everything they've done except for the first movies.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I think the final trope, which is what progresses the story towards the very end, is we told you about Albert Wesker, one of the four.
Yeah.
That you
Your
came
boss.
with. Your boss is the double agent. He is the double agent. He works for Umbrella, and he has been making a giant humanoid super soldier known as the Tyrant.
So there's some things I didn't care about the game, but there's some things I actually couldn't get enough of. And it was the whole story. Every game went further and further into it. The T virus, the G virus.
Yeah.
The first game was all about the T virus, but I don't know. I love this stuff. All of it was about building a super soldier, and it never worked until they figured out that once in a while, like again, it was supposed to be Steve Rogers' super soldier
Yeah.
stuff.
It's Captain America gone wrong. That's exactly
Well, no, that's what
it
it
is.
was always supposed to be, and it never. Well, okay, it did work. It was almost never working until once in a while, it would make a tyrant. Like, oh, well, these guys are big enough that we can sell these guys. But it did make one super soldier. I can't get enough of this. It's so bad. Wesker, the S.T.A.R.S leader, he is the perfect soldier. And you see more of it later. But what always blew my mind was that he's an amazing scientist. He's the one who's working on the T virus and developing it. And almost like Batman with like an extra 20 hours in the day. The exact same time while he's a scientist squirreled away in a umbrella laboratory building this stuff, he's also the leader of the S.T.A.R.S team. Presumably, I imagine, because if he's the leader, he's got to also be the one running all the training sessions and stuff. And for whatever reason, when shit goes, blows up, he's the one who leads the S.T.A.R.S team into the match. Like, none of this makes sense. Why is he doing this? Why is he double crossing them?
So, he works for Umbrella, but he's betrayed Umbrella.
He's betrayed everybody.
He's betrayed everybody
because he's just crazy.
So yeah, he is crazy. He wants to collect data so that he can sell his creations to another rival corporation.
Oh no, there was so many better ways to go about that.
Well,
Yes, there is. But
there may be, but it's almost like he created this team just so that he can say, look, these people are badasses. But if these badasses can be just obliterated by my creations, look what I can do for you. And so then he's going to take all that data and he's going to go off to the next corporation.
Why didn't he stay with Umbrella? They were going to give him a bonus.
I feel like that is.
They would have totally bought him his own car.
I feel like that might be another trope, however slightly underused, where it's I'm going to create the problem and then I'm going to solve the problem while everybody watches me solve it.
Yeah.
So like, here's the problem. Oh no, there's the big tyrant. How do we stop it? We use this. Oh, but we can't use this because they all died. Well, I actually made this, so here you go. Now you get it.
Umbrella totally would have made him like the director of the North American branch. He didn't.
They at least would have given him a good review.
A VP position? No.
Yeah, you can easily give VP positions.
On Yelp, could make good super soldiers.
So mostly you go through, you solve puzzles, you fight different bosses.
I want to say too, the puzzles are really good.
Yeah, they are.
The puzzles are really, really good.
I really liked getting the items, using the different items, solving the different puzzles. I don't know. I really liked that experience of choosing what to do and the horror elements. I kind of get bored with shooters, and it kind of feels like a little bit of a shooter, but it's not at all. It's
a puzzle game, with shooting elements.
Yeah.
It had a little bit of a Metroid feel because I remember you'd run into a locked door. And then eventually, and you'd be like, "Oh, this door's got it looks like it has a half moon seal on it or something."
This would be a start of what Rich's least favorite term in video gaming is. It's a Metroidvania game.
Well, I mean, it's not a Metroidvania game, but it also gave you that feeling.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, well, I guess I can go this way. You explore somewhere else,
and then you go back.
And then after beating a boss or something, oh fuck, I found the half moon piece. I bet it works on this door back at the beginning of the game.
That has a half moon piece symbol on it.
Yeah.
So then you get to the end, and so spoiler alert. If you listen to this, I hope you didn't plan on not being spoiled because we're gonna tell you everything about the game. That's the whole thing. Wesker's the bad guy. If you guys didn't figure that out already, he's the double agent. He's made the tyrants. He is supposedly killed, and then you activate the lab self-destruct system to blow up.
No, he does.
The lab.
I thought he activates the self-destruct.
You do.
You do?
Yep. After activating the lab self-destruct system,
honestly, it makes
the
a lot of
player
sense.
character reaches the heliport.
No, it makes a lot of sense, honestly, Rich. Because if I'd gone through all of that, dude, fuck it, blow it up.
Okay. I was fairly sure he said he was going to activate the self-destruct, and then you go back, you're fighting the tyrant, and after you fight the tyrant, Wesker's gone. And so you're like, Wesker must still be alive.
It does leave it up.
Yeah.
Because That is,
And also, just a side note, if you're creating a super monster, super soldier thing, don't put its heart on the outside of its chest. Like, your bones are there to protect your heart.
That was totally a design flaw. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a design flaw.
I'm really
that's why he was
surprised.
testing it. Can the heart still just be stopped? Oh, yes,
I'm really
it can.
surprised the QA team didn't find that and like send it back to the developers. It was really wild. They sent that to release.
Can you imagine the super soldier walking in?
What happens? They messed up the branching. It got released too early.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. I hate when that
They need a
happens.
DLC.
Fucking patch this, man.
I was just like, he walks in, he's like, how about this one? And they're like, dude, what the fuck? It's on the outside. Go back. Okay, so this is the one and only game in the Resident Evil saga that actually has multiple endings.
Oh, really?
Yes. There's 4 endings. The best ending has Chris and Jill escaping the mansion with a third S.T.A.R.S member, depending on who you played as. It was either Rebecca or Barry. And then after defeating the tyrant, you destroy the mansion. Ending number 1. Ending number 2. That's the second best ending and has the player character, Chris or Jill, escaping with his partner, Rebecca or Barry after defeating the tyrant, destroying the mansion. So the third character didn't make it. So the 2 of the 3 get out alive. The second worst ending has Jill or Chris escaping as Jill and Chris escaping as the only 2 survivors. And then the mansion is still intact and the tyrant is set loose.
That's a shitty ending.
Oh no, it gets worse. The worst ending has only the player character as the sole survivor with the mansion still intact and the tyrant set loose.
Did they declare a canonical ending?
So this is actually part of the trivia that we had.
Oh boy.
So
segue.
yeah, segue. If you wait.
So this is the segment where each game we're going to do the top 5 trivia. The trivia we thought was most interesting about the done quick.
So we'll start off with the first trivia bullet I put in there. Resident Evil's Japanese name, which is why I was so excited to do this, is Biohazard. And it had to change its name to what we now know as Resident Evil because Biohazard was an American rock band at the time and they couldn't use the name.
But Resident Evil's better.
It is better. And a lot of people have argued like, okay, maybe that was a better change because Biohazard just literally sounds generic as all hell.
I'm going to be that guy. Biohazard is Resident Evil is more unique, but it doesn't tell me anything. This was literally a biohazard. They released a terrible, terrible virus.
Yeah, but I want poetic names.
What's poetic about Resident Evil? Who's the resident and what is evil?
Albert Wesker is the resident and he's evil.
He lives there.
No, then the game should have been called like Agent Evil or something.
No, but he lives there.
Does he? He doesn't live there.
Yeah, he does.
Well,
Umbrella
when you're a
Corporation in that town.
workaholic, it's almost like you live there.
Oh God, is that where he lived?
No wonder. He had to work. He had to run all the tests all himself. I mean, he was the super scientist. So.
No wonder he was jumping ship and trying to find a different company.
Yeah.
The benefits sound shitty, man. Who wants to live out in the middle of
You see
Raccoon
that
City?
bathtub? I mean,
Disgusting.
You just want to go back to the bathtub, don't
They
you?
can't even give you a maid.
No, it's fair because the bathtub was traumatizing and
it's traumatizing.
It's not as
she vomits.
it was more traumatizing for me in Resident Evil 2, but we'll get there.
There's not a lot of vomit in video games.
There's not at all.
But that was a vomit moment for Jill.
Did they have pixel vomit coming out of her?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Is it censored vomit? I don't think so. Not in the American version, at least. Okay, so the second piece of trivia. The Japanese version used the English dub, even though Capcom recorded the Japanese version. This was ironically because Capcom thought the Japanese dub was too horrible. Funny enough, the English dub is considered some of the worst acting in video game history.
It's horrible. It really is.
It is awful. It
Here,
is.
take this, Jill, because you're the master of lockpicking.
It's the entire game is Metal Gear Solid's. Huh? What was that noise? Like that's the entire game. Like obviously there was something over there. Okay, don't go look. The third
In the remastered version, tell me they kept the terrible voice acting. They didn't try to make it like cool, did they?
No, but
I think that was part of the charm.
you could actually kind of recognize some of the voices. I think, which is kind of cool. It was bad. Honestly, it was bad.
Even in the remastered?
Even in the remaster.
Because
But
I mean, like by number 4, they try to get like super fucking cool with it. Which whatever they were rebranding the game for a new era of gameplay. I get it.
the dialogue wasn't changed. So even if the voice acting was good, the dialogue was horrible. So
All right, okay. No, I mean you're winning me over with the remastered version.
Okay. we need to talk about that real quick because you keep talking about the remastered version and how they're horrible. I want to point out.
Well, no. The original was horrible. I'd be disappointed if the remastered version was good.
Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2's remasters are among some of the best remasters ever made.
Sure.
In the history of gaming, which is.
But no, that's what I'm saying. If Resident Evil 1 remastered, they remastered it into like.
The better version.
No, into a good.
Like if they had fixed the dialogue to make it good.
Not that the gameplay was already good. It's it's still good gameplay. I'm not talking about the gameplay. I'm talking about the video parts, the movie parts, the B-movie parts. If they remastered it and made it good, like good dialogue and good voice acting, it would make the game worse. You need to keep the bad parts.
It's like Sharknado. Like it needs to be cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was checking. I wanted to make sure they kept the bad parts in. The good bad parts.
No, the dialogue is horrible.
Okay, perfect.
All right. The third one. This is a spoiler for the entire series, so strap your boots on. Albert Wesker is the only Resident Evil character that appears or is mentioned in every Resident Evil game except for the spinoffs. He is pretty much the catalyst for the entire series. Obviously, we talked about it in this one. In Resident Evil 0, he appears in certain cutscenes. In Resident Evil 2 and 3, the player can find his desk in the S.T.A.R.S office. If examined, the player will see that it belongs to Wesker, leader of the S.T.A.R.S unit. In Resident Evil 4, he is mentioned by Ada Wong and seen on a small monitor. In Code Veronica, he plays a vital role in the storyline, appearing in certain key moments. Resident Evil 5, he is the main antagonist. Resident Evil 6, he is mentioned by Chris Redfield when Chris is talking to Jake, Wesker's son. And then there's also Resident Evil 7, but I forgot that one. I don't
think he's in that one.
He might have been mentioned, I think.
I can't remember now.
It's been a while.
I played it only because it was like the one PlayStation 4 VR game.
Yeah.
And so far, as best as I can tell, it's the only like AAA VR, PSVR game.
And everybody talks about it, but can we talk about how cool the logo was for Resident Evil 7 with what they did with like the...
All I can remember is Resident Evil 6 with the giraffe getting sucked off by a girl. Have you not seen this? I swear to God, Rich, I have shown you the Resident Evil 6.
I think you have.
Yeah.
Well,
I would definitely share that with you, Rich.
Resident Evil had the Roman numerals highlighted in a couple of them. It was pretty cool. Maybe that was 6. I don't remember. Fourth bullet, which is one of the most interesting.
And this is the question he was asking.
Yeah. Although the genre was not entirely new, this was their first game to coin the term survival horror. So survival horror came from Resident Evil. All those survival horror games that you want to dub survival horror started here.
They set the standard. You know, you make the player move a little more realistically, and you limit their power.
Yep. And then the fifth one. This is the funniest bullet of all time for the Resident Evil series. The canon ending cannot be achieved in the game.
Okay.
The best ending for both scenarios has only 3 characters surviving: Jill, Chris, and Barry, or Jill. Chris and Rebecca. The characters Jill, Chris, and Barry have all appeared in at least one video game taking place after the events of the original Resident Evil. Rebecca returned alongside Chris in Capcom produced CGI animated feature film Resident Evil Vendetta, which is part of the main canon. So you can't actually get the true ending to Resident Evil.
I don't know
at all.
In my head, I just assumed all 4 of them made it. And even though it didn't literally happen in the game, it was just because of gaming limitations. And it was like, no, magically, both of those good endings happen at the same time.
Yeah. Everybody's okay. The mansion is gone. Yeah. This is what happened. But no, the canonical ending cannot even be achieved in this game. So technically, this is considered a one-off.
So apparently, Wesker gets really offended by Chris surviving. And now, from Resident Evil 1, Chris is his rival.
Yeah.
Like the entire rest of the series, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Is that why Chris got jacked?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to fight a guy like Wesker. He's got to spend some time in the gym.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out, Leiden keeps pointing out that Chris Redfield gets steroid abusing.
I like to be in the gym.
Yeah.
So I do this a little bit.
A few times.
And that boy, man, what game does he come back in? Number 5 or number 4?
I think
4 is Leon.
No.
Leon is protecting the president's daughter.
4 Ada Wong?
What are you talking about? No. Number 4, they're in the little village, and that's Leon. This is when they switched into an action game. And I think number 5 kept it going. I'm pretty sure he comes back in number 5. They're in Africa. And Chris is stupid jacked. Okay, his arms are bigger than his flipping head.
Yeah, they were not the right size physically,
Dude, this boy's working. Okay,
anatomically correct.
he eats every single meal. He does not skip one.
He eats a lot of eggs. Okay,
Dude, so many eggs, like at least 2 dozen a day.
So this is the point of the show where, if you want to get jacked like Chris without having to take steroids, then you hire our sponsor, Dorkside Fitness, and get some legit jacking in the gym.
Just pick which character you want to be. Oh, I want to be.
I am so glad you didn't say something about jacking off because I thought that's where it was headed for a second.
Just tell me.
No,
Which,
I was trying to go close, but you took us right there.
just tell me which character you would like to be. Oh, Chris Redfield. Oh my God. Okay, well.
Well, you could be like, so how buff do you want to be? Like Chris Redfield big or Tyrant big?
Oh no, please no.
What's the training package look like to look like Chris?
Oh man, you're gonna be in the gym like 6 days a week, like every day. Every day's arm day. Okay.
Every day's arm day.
Every day is arm day.
I like that.
Now,
I think everybody likes that.
One of the bullets we didn't put in here, and I thought it'd be fun to talk about real quick, was I remember Wesker in a fighting video game.
Yes.
Do you remember what game that was?
No, but I know this happened.
It did happen because he had like a stretchy arm and
Okay, I don't remember that part.
it was weird. I believe, and I would love people to correct me if I'm wrong because I love being corrected. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. I believe it was PlayStation All-Stars that he was in.
No.
I don't know though.
Fuck you, I'm looking at it.
But I do remember Wesker having some kind of stretchy arm, or maybe that was one of the other Resident Evil characters. I do remember a game that had a couple Resident Evil fighting, or I was sorry, characters that were fighters, and one of them having a stretchy arm, or like a maybe not a stretchy, but like a cybernetically enhanced arm.
So they took Dalsim and they just
With one arm.
They just reskinned him as Wesker. Damn whitewashing.
How dare you? But he didn't breathe fire, so it wasn't kind of. I mean, it was like not Dalsim. But then again, you know, it was Resident Evil. They could pretty much do.
He probably
God,
breathed
was
a
he one of
poisonous
the-
gas.
Was he in a Capcom versus game?
Capcom loves to do that.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. He was probably in Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah.
So yeah, it wasn't PlayStation All Stars. Actually, he still might have been in PlayStation All Stars. I don't remember. We will put it as the.
If we find out, we'll put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in the
If you know, then just put it in the comments.
Then you know that we're wrong and you're laughing at us in the car.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I believe it was Marvel vs. Capcom he was in, and he had
A stretchy arm.
a stretchy arm.
Stretchy arm.
I wanted to make sure I said stretchy.
I feel like that's in his power set.
Yeah, and then he also had rockets and shotguns and all the other stuff.
That's great.
That's why he's so angry at Chris, because he's like, I like did all kinds of super science and all I got was stretchy arms. And Chris just like somehow magically got arms bigger than his head.
Dude, bro. Chris is jacked, okay?
All right, we're going to end the show finally with something we purposely put as our ending. I cannot believe we've done it, but we finally done an ending to at least a segment of the show. The done really quick segment. So this is how the game is done, or we explain how.
So we meandered really hard.
Yes.
So if you got frustrated, here we go. What is a short synopsis of this game?
Okay, a man and a woman in her spooky mansion play with some animals and a homeless people. Set the bitch on fire and then get the hell out of there. But it's all with zombies.
There you go. Now you know what the game is all about, and you are ready to move on to.
I'm sure someone was
Resident
listening to
Evil
that
2.
like, this game doesn't sound that good. And then I said, but with zombies. And they're like, oh, yes.
That's all I need.
All right, guys. That was Dorkside News for the first Done Quick. We plan on doing more. And we will probably start getting into more of my areas of expertise, like Final Fantasy eventually. And I can go for days on each one of those.
Or Dragon Warrior.
Ooh, that's Dragon Quest. Okay, sorry. We're stretching it out. Okay, we will see you guys in the next episode where we're talking about the news. Bye-bye.
Bye.